I just put the logs down. Put about 4 logs down. Get the widest, flattest ones. I put them as close as I can together. And then I do a log cabin on top. The breeze brings goosebumps to my skin. Tonight the whiskey feels stronger. Gasoline on hidden desires. So hello everybody. So we are back with another video of Ben and Bill, and my dad's friend Boonedockery gave us a package, and we also have some other things. That we have 2 pots that I made, and we have a few arrowheads that I made, and a piece of petrified wood that we got from Flint Ridge. There's like a flint napping thing, and we also have another push dagger that we got from the flint napping thing. So let's get to showing you our stuff that we have. So this is petrified wood. It's wood that has turned to stone, and it is super hard. It's rock. Yeah, see a little control fracture, Dad, look. And it fell into a swamp. The wood became a rock before it could rot. So I made this pot. My dad did the structure, and I did the designs. You like these designs? I made a smiley face at the front. And
show them the pot.
I did.
Put it out in front of the camera.
I also did these designs on the very top rim. My dad inspired me to do.
Yeah, we've been working on some different things. Again, we've got about a year in on making pottery and stuff now. This was one of the first pots that I made, and it's kind of a little worse for wear, but we've turned it into a little planter now. We've got some pregnant plant and some moss and stuff in there, and so that's that. If you haven't seen any of our pottery videos, we take the clay right out of a stream just over a little ways away from here, and we add temper. We've been practicing or experimenting, I guess you could say, with a lot of different types of temper. We've used shell, we've used ash from the fire, we've used crushed pottery, which I think that technical term of that is grog, and we mix that with the clay to get it to the consistency that we like, and then we build it. This pot I actually started to build on top of a gourd, and then of course it flattened out just from sitting. But this was modeled after an Adena pot that was discovered here in Ohio. It's another small cook pot that I've got, that I built here, and it's got a piece of our basswood cordage tied around it. And again, we take these pieces, and after we mold them, we sit them in the garage to let them dry out. And after we feel like they've been pretty thoroughly dried out, then we get a fire.
And we heard that you have to put them in the oven for like 300 degrees to make sure they're perfectly dry.
Yeah, that was a tip that we got, because we've had a lot of pieces, even including this Adena pot. It actually has a crack in it on the side. Now we're still going to give this a try at cooking, because it does seem to hold water, but it does have a lot of little hairline cracks in it, and that could be for many different reasons. Another friend that we've never actually met but have talked to some online, Andy Ward, tried to give me some different tips on what I might need to do temper wise and drying wise and whatnot to experiment. So I wanted to talk a little bit about friends. about good friends. You know, one of the things that John Timms told me a long time ago was that in life we have lots of acquaintances, but we don't necessarily have a lot of friends. And it's been a good tool in life to remember that you know, there are acquaintances and there are friends. I've been very, very fortunate to have a fantastic set of really good friends. I even got this little guy here. He's been a really good friend.
For 6 years.
For 6 years, I know. So we got a package in the mail today from my friend John Timms at Boonedockery. So let's get into this thing, buddy.
Boonedockery, like I told you at the beginning of the video. At the end of the video.
Whoa. It's a book.
A book?
It is a book.
Oh.
What is this? The Gospel of Survival by Jason Hunt, PhD.
Let's read some. Read it.
Here's from page 90. It's incredible to learn that God gave us an everlasting command in the Bible to go out and camp by making a natural debris shelter. More than that, he even tells us to live in it for an entire week every year. Talk about survival skills. It's all part of our annual cycle of God. The Feast of Tabernacles, also known as shelters or Sukkot, celebrates the reality that Israel's children lived in natural tents as they crossed the desert wilderness on their way to the promised land of Israel. Leviticus 23:42 through 43. For 7 days you must live outside in little shelters. All native-born Israelites must live in shelters. This will remind each new generation of Israelites that I made their ancestors live in shelters when I rescued them from the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Very cool. Thank you so much. This is going to be a wonderful treasure. I can't wait to make my way through it. I was just thinking last night when I was up in the middle of the night that it'd be nice to have something to read, and this is going to be just the thing. Been up a lot lately in the middle of the night, so this will be fantastic. Thank you so much, John from Boonedockery. The Gospels of Survival by Jason Hunt, PhD.
The fall is coming, I can feel it. The breeze brings goosebumps to my skin. Tonight the whiskey feels stronger. Gasoline on hidden desires. So slow.
Can you sit, that when you're eating, can you sit crisscross applesauce on the ground? So, it'll be like us being like Indians. The Indians didn't have really fancy chairs like these. And at the ground is a chair. Water. What kind of soup is that? Potato. God is great. God is good. Fireside. Now everyone eat.
Another bite, grab my old lighter.
Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for this day. I want to thank you for all of your many blessings. I want to thank you for the safe travels that you bestowed all of us with to get here today and for this weekend. And I pray that you see us home safely as well, Father. Thank you for allowing us to have a family-friendly event that we can come to with our families to learn and to have fellowship and to enjoy the company of like-minded individuals, Father. As always, we give you the glory for all good things. Please guide us and direct us while we're here. Allow us to make the most of these opportunities that you have presented us in this beautiful creation that you have bestowed upon us. All these things I pray in the name of Jesus. Amen. I can tell you all kinds of stuff about walnuts. And we could probably be here for a good little while, but I'm not going to tell you everything because I've already done that, and it's in a medium to where you can access all the fine minutiae of walnuts, which is my YouTube channel called Boonedockery. I have some cards here you can take to remind you if you forget, because it's a weird name and I'm a weird person. You might remember me, but you might not remember the name of the channel. But I break down all of the information about everything that you can do with walnuts, walnut hulls, and what you can do with the dyes. Now, before we get started into this, I had a little problem this year. Normally we have more walnuts than we would be able to do anything at all with. And this year I have a walnut tree in my yard, great big one, great big old tree. And my neighbor's has, 7 that aren't as big as mine, but I always produce. This summer, not a single walnut was produced by any of those trees. So I put the word out and said, hey, you wanted me to do this class, I want to let you know that I don't have any walnuts. And so I'm going to ask around, see if I can find some, but if you know of a few folks to contribute some too, please do that. And I'm a high school art teacher by profession, 33 years now. And I sort of put the word out with my students. Of course, they're like, sure, Mr. Timms, I'm on it. And, I didn't think anything of it. And the Thursday before I came up, Jimmy came in and he said, Mr. Timms, he's like, here's those walnuts. And he said, that's how I could fit in my book bag with all of my books. And so I just thought that was the sweetest thing ever, that he went out of his way to bring me some walnuts. And I wanted to share that with you guys. And we're going to put that into the walnut bath right now. And you guys are my witnesses that Jimmy did me proud, and he helped us out to do this class.
Need some extra credit.
They sit out in the sunlight, they're going to dry a little bit more. The longer they sit in the grass, especially in shade, they're going to soften up a little bit. And these are softened up a little bit, they lost a little bit of their color. You can use it for dyeing in any of these states. I can put this in the walnut bath right now and it'll be fine. The only thing is that it takes longer for this intact hull to break down. And we also have competitive space with the walnuts that are contained therein. Now, I don't know about you, but I absolutely love black walnuts, but I absolutely hate busting up those black walnut shells to get to the black walnut goodies that are inside. It's worth it, but it takes a while. Now, if you're one of those people that absolutely love black walnuts and you want to try this stuff, this is what you need to do. You need to separate the walnut from the hull, because once you boil the walnut in there, you take them out, you dry them out, they're nasty. You would not want to eat those. They are not good in any way, shape, or form. Walnuts. And I hulled them. That's the hulls that I got off the walnuts. And this is the actual walnuts. So from a 5-gallon bucket, you have a lot of stuff. And like I said, if you want to know what you can do with the black walnuts, the black walnut shells, medicinally and everything else, watch my video on walnut dyeing on my YouTube channel, and you'll get all that good information. Now, I started walnut dyeing things as part of my participation in a historical reenactment. I was a historical reenactor for over 20 years. My time period was French and Indian War through Rev War. I dabbled a little bit in Civil War and even Viking. But one of the things that the frontiersmen used to do to get their clothing to be more subdued when they went hunting was to walnut dye it. A blaze orange bandana. Let's see, that's a shimano. Oh, there it is. Don't want to hit anyone. Let's see if we can separate that real quick. But this is a blaze orange bandana. Now, we're going to rinse that a little bit. It's been soaking in there for a little over an hour. So even something as brilliant as blaze orange can be muted. Now the color's going to change just a little bit when it's dry. But now we have something that is just awful, in my humble opinion, as a color, to something that I actually think is pretty. Now I like that color. I think it's great. And as you can see, synthetic things don't dye real well, like the silk screening that's on this. This is the biggest travesty that's ever become to the United States military.
That was good salesmanship. That's what that was.
I think that was somebody who had a good friend in the industry.
In the DOD, yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And they made a lot of money off of that at the potential risk of the lives of men and women of the United States Armed Services.
Walking shrubs.
So not only was it just a whole bunch of stupidity, there was also some malfeasance, and you could almost say, if they're intentionally putting our men and women at risk,
Treason.
that's a little bit of treason. Now, this is awful. You know, this isn't camouflage anywhere. Hey, you want to do me a favor? You want to do me a favor? Come here.
Grandma's
I'll show you something. Here. I want you to put this on, and I want you to go stand in the woods right there.
No, I light in the woods.
Just right there in the shade, okay? Yeah. Well, I tell you what I want you to do is I want you to hold this up in front of you, okay? Get over there and you look into the woods, and we want to see what that looks like. And then I'm going to tell you to turn around, and then you hold up the brown one, okay? I call that ghost camouflage. Okay, turn around, Ben. Oh, my goodness gracious. Look at that.
Freeze is fine.
Look at that. Okay, Ben, fantastic job. Come on up, buddy. Come on up.
Good job. Go over to the girl with all the food.
Good job, Ben. But as you can see, walnut dyeing does some amazing things with fabrics. And if you like subdued fabrics, you like subdued clothing, you have a nice flannel shirt that your really well-meaning beloved one just thought you would absolutely love to take into the woods with you, and it is the god-awfulest combination of colors you could ever imagine. There's still hope. There's still hope. Get yourself a walnut dye bath, and that will be something you can take into the woods. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this in there. But as I said, this dye bath is done with all walnuts because they were dried, really hard to break off. The color change. Yeah, isn't that nice? Now it's going to be a lot darker when we first are putting it in here, and we're going to shock this, squish it around in there real good. Agitate it, and then after I do that, I'm going to pour some more water in it, and I'm going to let it steep there all night. This right here, this is an experiment. I got a shemagh. It was basically like almost white tan, and I tied it up. I'm going to do a little tie dyeing with it. as that dries, that color is going to be much more visible because it's a little darker now than what it's going to be.
Sure.
You were talking about like organics and stuff. Have you ever done a buckskin?
No. Yes. Show him.
Because the
It
reason I
looks
ask is
gorgeous.
because I read years ago one of the things that made Daniel Boone so popular was his buckskin. No one could figure out why his buckskin was different than everybody else's, and they dyed it in he did it in walnut. That's what made it darker. I like that.
And someone had talked to me earlier today, I don't know who it was, about putting vinegar in with this, and it will help break a little bit of that surface tension down on the nylon to where it would more readily accept the dye. But I've not personally tried that
It's like
yet.
fabric softener.
Yeah.
Because what do you use as a natural fabric softener? White vinegar.
Yep. Oh yeah, we go through gallons of vinegar about every month.
Where do you find
We use it for cleaning. It works great washing
It's a
windows.
disinfectant.
Disinfectant.
I got a comment.
Oh, I forgot to mention, there is a Osage orange tree down there, and there's some of the fruit that's on it. You can actually use that as a natural dye as well. And right now, probably, the frost last night probably put an end to it, but when I drove up, there was still a whole lot of pokeberry. Pokeberry will make the most beautiful magenta, purplish dye, and it's color fast. I mean, it will stay. If you want a bright color, that's a really good natural color to choose. And the Osage orange, it will dye like a pale yellow green, and that's sort of nice. It sort of tones things down. Constantine, before he became emperor and had the national religion of Rome become Christianity, he was about ready to get his butt kicked in battle, and he received a vision in the heavens of that symbol, and then that night Jesus actually came to him in the middle of the night and said, by this sign you shall conquer, and you need to have all of your men paint that symbol on their shields, and you will be victorious. And so he had all the commanders wake up all the men the night before battle in the middle of the night, painted these things on there. They didn't have any sleep or anything. The next day they went to the bridge for the battle. Not only did they reign victorious, but they annihilated a force that was 3 times their size.